Movies in short here. Today, we'll discuss a 2020 action thriller movie called Greenland. Sit back, relax and enjoy. John Garrity is a Scottish structural engineer living in Atlanta, Georgia, with his estranged wife, Allison, and their diabetic son, Nathan. He drives home from his worksite, hoping to reconcile with his family. They will be hosting a party with their neighbors to watch the passing of a recently discovered interstellar comet named Clark. This comet is not a singular body but is made up of multiple fragments of rock and ice. It will be the closest comet to pass by Earth in history and be visible even in broad daylight. John uses his key to open the door, while Allison runs on her treadmill inside. He tentatively knocks on her bedroom door. Their conversation is awkward as he asks after his son. Nathan returns home and is overjoyed to see John. They discuss the comet, which is from a different solar system. He tells his father that his new insulin pack is way better than the insulin injections. John lovingly says that he will always be his father, no matter what happens. He reassures Nathan that he is trying to work things out with Nathan's mother Allison. The following morning, they watch television for an update on Clark. It is thought that some of the larger fragments are supposed to enter the Earth's atmosphere and burn out. John's neighbor Ed welcomes him back and confirms that he will see him later. Allison asks John to go to the store for last-minute provisions before their guests arrive. As they approach the grocery store, John and Nathan notice a fleet of military cargo transport jets flying north in formation and see Clark in the sky. While they are shopping, John receives an automated presidential alert phone call from the Department of Homeland Security. He is informed that his family have been pre-selected for emergency sheltering. Concerned and confused by this information, John and Nathan rush home. Numerous armored vehicles drive by. As they rush indoors, their guests are watching a live news report. John calls Allison aside to tell her about the automated call. They rejoin their guests and watch the updated news. A large fragment from the comet enters the atmosphere. They all hear a sound and John runs outside, seeing a large flock of birds fly by. A shock wave rattles the area and shatters the windows. The fragment, previously anticipated to land near Bermuda, vaporizes Tampa. The effects are far-reaching, with most of Florida being destroyed. Everyone watches in horror as the live television update shows the disturbing footage. John once again receives an automated presidential alert call. The message simultaneously displays on their television screen. He is instructed to be at Robins Air Force Base to board an evacuation flight. This applies only to his family. They are not permitted to take anyone with them and are only allowed one bag each. Their terrified neighbors rush out of the house to be close with their families. The Garritys pack hurriedly and prepare to leave. They remember to include Nathan's spare insulin packs. Allison reassures Nathan, who is worried about his grandpa, Dale. As they drive away, their neighbor Ed runs out of his house towards their car. He warns them that Clark is a giant cluster of fragments that are expected to bombard Earth over the next 2 days. The largest fragment is expected to cause an extinction-level event. Deborah, another of their neighbors, desperately begs John to take her daughter with them. He speeds off without her, knowing she would be denied entry to the flight. As they drive through the town, people are hysterical while they stock up on grocery supplies. John questions why their family was chosen for evacuation. There are still no updates from the White House. At Robins Air Force Base, a long line of traffic prevents the family from reaching the gate. John takes an alternate route as they listen to updates on the radio along the way. They stop the vehicle and the family continue towards the gates on foot. Nathan accidentally leaves his insulin in the car. As they reach the front of the crowd, John shouts repeatedly that they were selected. The desperate crowd surges towards the gates. A police officer asks John for his ID and barcode. They are allowed access with the QR code on John's phone and their wristbands, providing confirmation of their identities. When they consolidate their belongings into one bag, they discover that Nathan's insulin is missing. John hurries back through the crowd to the car to find it while Allison and Nathan wait to board the plane. Allison approaches a guard to ask if John will be allowed to board the same plane they are on when he returns with Nathan's medication. They are denied access once the soldier learns of Nathan's diabetes. Allison begs unsuccessfully for them to be allowed onto the plane. They are escorted off the base. John pushes through the crowds and makes it back through security just in time. He calls for Allison as he walks toward the plane, but cannot find her and Nathan. His frantic text message to her is not delivered. A fellow passenger confronts him about the medicine in his hands. He tells John that a family member was denied access to the flight due to illness. John learns that his family were turned away due to Nathan's illness. He demands to disembark in order to find his family. The base is breached by the desperate mob, all wanting to be saved. Shots are fired, inadvertently igniting the jet fuel. Several of the evacuation planes are destroyed. Dozens of people are killed, but John narrowly escapes. Allison and Nathan are in the crowded street and see the explosions. She assures her son that John wasn't on the plane. John is relieved when a soldier tells him that his son was declined entry to the plane and that they left the base. Nathan's insulin pack is empty. Allison calms him down and messages John. He returns to their car where he finds a note left by Allison. She and Nathan are heading to her father's house in Lexington, Kentucky. They walk through the town until Allison finds a looted store. She finds the medical supplies and they narrowly escape being shot. Allison and Nathan approach a couple to ask for a ride up north. Ralph and Judy Vento are also headed that way. Ralph tells them they will take them as far as Knoxville, Tennessee. He bitterly assumes that wealthy people won their pre-selection for shelter on a government lottery. When Judy asks if they are all alone, Nathan tells her his father is on a plane. She notices their bracelets. Allison informs them that Nathan has a medical condition and they were denied access to the plane. John continues to walk through the looted city. Worldwide panic ensues as an approaching Clark looms ominously in the night sky. He comes across a rooftop party and goes upstairs, hoping for a better signal. His brief call to Allison is cut. John sees a truck filled with survivors and manages to hitch a ride. He learns through a young man named Colin that the military is flying from Canada to bunkers in Greenland. Colin tells John that people were pre-selected based on their professions. John explains that he was separated from his wife and child at the military base. Ralph continues driving north and thinks about what Allison has told him. He says that perhaps if Nathan had a different family with him, he could get to safety. He pulls over, gets out of the car and throws Allison out onto the verge. Nathan screams in terror. Judy strongly disagrees with Ralph's actions. They drive away, leaving Allison behind. The truck with the survivors travels down the highway. Another survivor, noticing John's wristband, believes only American-born citizens should have been selected. The man picks up a hammer, demands the wristband and starts to attack John. The ensuing chaos in the back of the truck almost results in the truck crashing. After a long brutal fight in the countryside, John kills the hostile man. He sadly sees Colin lying dead near the truck. Allison bravely continues to walk alone along the highway. A car eventually stops and a kind family asks if she needs a ride. They are heading to Knoxville. Meanwhile, Ralph, a reluctant Judy, and a very frightened Nathan eventually arrive at the evacuation site. Nathan tells a soldier that they are not his parents and that he was kidnapped by them. Ralph and Judy are arrested when they fail to prove they are Nathan's parents. Nathan is taken away from them by the police and sent to the FEMA camp across the road. Allison jumps out of the car when the family approach a traffic jam. She runs through the crowds towards the camp, where a man helps her to look for Nathan. They check through the tents until Nathan is finally found and they are reunited. The medical staff have taken good care of him and given him a new insulin pump. They offer to arrange a lift for them to Allison's father's home in Lexington on a military bus. The following day, John wanders through a deserted neighborhood. He breaks into a house to find food and water and turns on the TV. Various news channels report on the worldwide destruction, with a countdown to the final impact. He steals their car and finally reaches his father-in-law's home. Allison and Nathan are not there. Dale is concerned about John. Allison and Nathan finally arrive at a grocery shop nearby. She calls the house, and they are collected by John and Dale. They return to Dale's house, exhausted but happy to be reunited. As they watch the updates on Clark on TV, they accept their fate that they will die in the impact in less than a day. Recalling information he had heard from Colin, John realizes they might have enough time to make a last-minute flight to Canada in order to reach the bunkers in Greenland. The family discuss it and agree to leave. John approaches Dale and tells him he needs to pack immediately. Dale says he will stay to take care of the horse, as his wife Mary would have expected him to. John apologizes to Dale for his wrongdoings in the past. He promises Dale that he will do everything in his power to save Allison and Nathan by getting them to the bunkers in time. An aftershock hits the farm. They have to leave immediately. Dale tells them to take his truck as it has a full tank of gas. They say their final goodbyes to Dale and drive away. John and Allison remember good times and bad on their journey. They reconnect emotionally and are grateful for their family. As they reach upstate New York, an emergency alert warns them of molten debris. Fireballs rain from the sky, destroying cars, people, and downing a helicopter as they scramble to escape. John drives them to an underpass for shelter. He breaks cover and runs to a burning car to assist a stranger. After some time, the meteor shower ceases, leaving much of the area on fire. The family continue on their journey to Canada. It is revealed that Clark's largest fragment will make impact somewhere in Western Europe. This will create tsunamis and surface winds traveling faster than the speed of sound. All the continents will burn as the debris rains down, killing more than 75% of life on Earth. They arrive at the airport. John drives onto the runway towards a plane that is about to take off. The plane comes to a halt in front of their car and an angry pilot confronts the family. He argues that the plane is full and he cannot take any more passengers, but eventually agrees to take only Nathan and Allison. Allison eventually convinces the pilot to take all of them. Although the plane is full, fellow survivors make space for them. They manage to rest a while and are grateful to be on their way to safety. As the plane approaches Greenland, another large fragment strikes off the coast. The subsequent shock wave causes the plane to crash land into the base of a mountain in a valley. John checks the cockpit. Only one pilot is barely alive but quickly succumbs to his injuries. John tells the survivors he saw a military plane land about a mile away. He leads his family and the survivors to the nearby airbase. The military personnel assist them as the survivors run to safety along the underground corridors. The family embrace as they reach the bunkers. The countdown to extinction commences. Clark enters the atmosphere and impacts. We see flashbacks of their lives and loved ones in happier times. The cities of Sydney, Paris, Mexico City, and Chicago are shown in total ruin. 9 months later, the Greenland station attempts to make radio contact with other potential survivors. The bunker doors slowly open, allowing the Garritys and the other survivors to see the radically changed landscape. They see a pair of birds flying around, indicating that the air is clear. There appears to be no signs of radiation. The survivors wait for clearance to exit the base. Worldwide radio communication has commenced again. The all clear is given and the survivors step slowly onto the Earth. An orbital view of Earth reveals a massive crater where Clark impacted. Several smaller craters dot the planet's surface. Greenland finally makes contact with other stations around the globe. They are all glad to be alive. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon.